Hello. Hi. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Yoli's having a crazy 5 minutes at the moment, so she just wants to be near me, so I thought we'd just start. But if you have been watching my other videos recently, you will know that I've recently moved house, and along with that have come a lot of plant things. Not all bad, there's been quite a lot of positive things as well. And I've also just got loads of plans and loads of thoughts for like little projects and things that I want to do around the house. So yeah, I thought today I could give you some updates and I could take you through a lot of those things. So yeah, first, if you're new here, hello, my name's Claire and this is Yoli. I make videos all about houseplant care, sharing tips and tricks I've learned over the years to help keep your plants happy and healthy. And yeah, a lot of the plants that I've picked for this video as well have been ones that you guys have specifically asked for updates on, so I've got a lot to take you through today. But yeah, I hope you enjoy it. Let's get into it. So obviously there's still a lot to figure out in this space and it is very early days, but I thought today I would actually take you round to all of the plants that I was going to talk about and show you where I'm growing them, what I'm doing, just talk you through some things in the new space basically. So the first ones that I wanted to give you an update on are the big ones that you see behind me here, my Monstera albo and my euphorbias. And the reason that I wanted to give you an update on these plants is not necessarily because there's anything like massive going on with them, but just because these are plants that I've never, or I have very rarely spoken about in my videos for a really long time because I haven't had the space to show them. So yeah, my euphorbias have been previously, before I put them in this spot, have been growing through in the bedroom at my old flat, and that has not provided them with nearly enough light to be able to grow kind of big and full and healthy. Obviously they are pretty huge, but I don't think that is down to their time in the bathroom. So finally, they are in a spot where they've got a little bit more space to breathe. They are getting some lovely light from the window here. This is a west-facing window, so it's not like crazy bright sunlight. However, it's more light than they were getting before, so it's progress. But I am actually thinking that at some point I might get a grow bulb and just kind of hang it suspended from the ceiling coming down over those plants just to give them a bit of an extra light boost, because I would love to just really bring out the best potential in them. But yeah, I mean, obviously, although I want to bring out the best in them, they're gonna get huge. They're gonna get absolutely huge. Already, this one here is, I'm pretty sure, taller than me. It's not on a plant stand or anything like that. And I've had that plant since it was about that big. So I'm insanely proud of them. And it's so nice to be able to just look at them and kind of see them in pride of place here. Like, when it comes to plant styling-y things, the first thing that I wanted to do when we moved in was get some kind of big statement plants into this space, and I just love being able to look at them because I really was overlooking them before, if that makes sense. And then yeah, my Monstera albo, not a huge amount to say about this one, but obviously that's a plant that I did speak about potentially getting rid of before moving house, and if I'm being totally honest, it's still not a plant that I'm like wowed by in the way that I was when it first grew big, if that makes sense. Like, I know it's not highly variegated, not that I need it to be highly variegated to love it, but it's just growing in a slightly kind of straggly way. And yeah, before I moved house, I was like, do I chop the plant up and reset it? And the reason that I haven't is because, again, when we got into the space, I was like, I need something green there. Like, I want a little pop of green there. We put that plant there and I was like, it's got good light there. It's going to be happy. For now, let's just leave it there. I don't know if it's a permanent position for this plant. I don't know if maybe I will still chop it up, restart it. I'd actually be really interested to know your thoughts on this. So if any of you have any input, feel free to comment it down below. But yeah, at some point I'm kind of thinking for my green fix there, I could put some more planty shelves, not even necessarily like grow light shelves, like ones that have lower light plants on them, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, for the time being, it's looking really lovely there. It's looking really lovely, but it's not one that I, have like, what am I saying? It's not one that I feel that attached to and like scared to chop, if that makes sense. And coming over to my cabinet, one of the plants that you guys were asking about that I haven't given you an update on in ages is my Musa Florida. And this is the one that I got from Downtown Plant Club towards the end of last year. I think it was November, December time. And oh my goodness, I was so blown away by all of my plants in that order. But this one arrived looking a little bit battered. I think it has maybe 2 or 3 leaves and it has lost all of the original leaves. I didn't know what to do. Its roots didn't look good. I ended up chopping the whole thing back and I put it into sphagnum moss. And some of you guys were saying that that was a bad idea. And I really second guessed myself. However, ha 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 is all I want to say because they have done so well. I was like I am not familiar with this kind of plant at all, so I was a little bit nervous doing it this way, but I very much just trusted my gut and it could have gone wrong, but fortunately in this case it hasn't, and it is giving me the most beautiful, beautiful leaves now. That one was half moon and sadly it's scorched on the grow light, so I did need to chop it back, but on the whole the balance of variegation is so pretty and it has been so fast to grow, bearing in mind we are just at the beginning of 2 weeks into February now, and it had no leaves after I chopped it all back, and so these are all leaves from the last couple of months. And in fact, I was just noticing as I took it out of the cabinet, I don't know if you'll be able to pick it up on camera, but there is actually a new leaf coming up here, but it's got slightly trapped in the petiole or the stem of this leaf. I don't know if you can tell. But yeah, I might need to get a cotton bud and kind of wheedle that out and help it to not get stuck. But obviously the root system is so fantastic now. It definitely is ready to be potted up. And that scares me a little bit because it does seem like quite a sensitive plant from what I have kind of gathered from it so far. There have been many times before where I've transferred something out of sphagnum moss into either semi-hydro or a soil mix, and then things have started going really wrong. So your suggestions would be welcome. I know I just said ha ha ha, look, it rooted, I did it right. But genuinely, I do read all of your comments and I do take all of your suggestions on board. So please, if you grow this plant and if you've had success doing things a certain way, do let me know. I know some of you were saying semi-hydro, and I can very much believe that just because of how much of a water guzzler it is. Like right now, although this moss isn't dry, I would consider this on the dry side of this plant because it drinks an ungodly amount. Honestly, it is such a guzzler. So maybe semi-hydro, I don't know. I think I will make a decision on this maybe in the next week or two because it is actually going to outgrow the spot in the cabinet I've got it in. So yeah, that's where we're at with that one. And next, over here in my planty space, this is a bit of a sad update. There have been some, oh dear, not so positive developments with one of my favourite plants, and this is my Begonia Sinbad. And as you can tell, it is looking currently incredibly raggedy. And basically, don't fear, there is more of this plant. I did take some cuttings and I did chop and propagate. But this is one that, to be honest, like, I think in the lead up to the move, the week before, because I was obviously just like focusing on packing and like getting lots done, there were a few plant things that got overlooked. This one also got bashed and broken a little bit in transit. This was the one plant that probably had the most damage. So I did take some cuttings and it just, I don't know, it's just been showing signs of not being happy in a way that a lot of my other plants haven't. And I am doing everything I possibly can to keep conditions stable for this plant. But yeah, as I say, I think raggedy is probably the best word to describe it right now. There is still some healthy growth. And as I say, I did take some cuttings and I'm rooting them in water. And although they don't look great just by looking at the foliage, I took the cuttings, when did I take the cuttings? Maybe a week ago. Oh, yeah, and as you can see already, I have got some roots coming. So I have all the faith that this plant is going to bounce back, but it's just one that I didn't really expect to go wrong. It's been such an easy begonia for me. It's been such an easy plant for me in the time that I've owned it. But obviously I am still fairly new with begonias as a genus. So I'm like, maybe, I don't know, maybe they just don't always acclimate that well, or maybe this is actually a sensitive one and I've just been lucky so far. So yeah, it does make me really sad because I was loving growing this plant and I had no drama at all with it for such a long time. And now there's obviously quite a lot of work to do. So yeah, it's just a bit of a waiting game now. I just need to wait for those sections to root, figure out what I'm going to do about this because I've got some really chunky sections in here. Like some of these stems are like tree trunk at the bottom. They are properly woody. And I'm like, should I pot it in a different way? Should I reset the plant? Should I divide it up and maybe not grow so many sections in one container? Again, any advice you guys have would be so appreciated. So if you're a begonia person or if you just have some thoughts, please comment them down below. But yeah, this is a bit of a sad update, isn't it? The good thing is, since I have chopped the plant, and I'm just noticing this now, since I've chopped it, there is lots of new growth. Like you see those little leaves coming out there. I'm confident they are doing that because I chopped the plant. So yeah, they do tend to be resilient plants. So yeah, let's wait and see what happens. And then again, I know the light isn't great in here, but I thought I would just bring you through to the kitchen and give you a couple of updates through here because we've got a window in the kitchen. It's so exciting and it does mean that I can keep plants on the windowsill. I've also trained one of my pothos plants to kind of go up above the window, which I think looks so beautiful. This is the one that was previously climbing the beam at my flat and I just love it there. I think it looks gorgeous without getting in the way. And although a lot of the things I've got here at the moment, I've got a lot of my succulents and things that are kind of very low maintenance, I do have big plans for this windowsill. I would really like to create an edible garden of plants here. I want to grow some bay, I want to grow some kumquat, I want to grow like various herbs and lots and lots and lots of lovely things because obviously it would just be lovely to be able to cook and kind of turn around and just get things from the windowsill and yeah, I don't know, there's just something really lovely and wholesome and fun about that. And it feels achievable as well. So that's the grand plan. However, I just wanted to mainly give you an update on one of my favourite plants because you know how much I love this plant if you watch my channel, my Coleus amboinicus. And this one is the start of my edible garden on the windowsill because obviously you can cook with this plant and I have been cooking with this plant. But oh my goodness, since putting it in this spot, bearing in mind, like right now, the sun is as out as it is ever going to get on this bit of the house because we've got such a high garden. The sun is out right now, so no direct sun, but just like, I guess, kind of medium bright and direct light. Yeah, it's gone ridiculously crazy. And I was growing this one in a window before, but it's really, really funny that in the last, literally under 3 weeks, the last couple of week and a halves, it's just funny how I have noticed like really, really significant and not all negative changes in my plants. Like these big sections of growth here, they just weren't there before. I swear it's grown like loads of new leaves in such a short amount of time. So yeah, it feels really positive. And oh, that's Yoli jumping off the bed upstairs. It's very creaky. Hello, baby girl. But yeah, it just feels really exciting. And as I say, I will absolutely keep you updated with the edible garden. I've already got a few things that I'm like propagating and starting from seed. Hello, sweet girl. Oh, Yoli's here. Hello, baby girl. Hello, hello, Waggy. Oh, you're such a good girl. You're such a good girl. Also, if you're wondering what's in the jar on the floor, this is actually heading for the bin. But this was some banana skins. I did a little bit of DIY fertiliser making because my first couple of weeks here I didn't have any fertiliser and I was like, I want to try and just still give my plants a little boost. So I put some banana skins in water. Hello, hello. I think because the house is so much bigger than the flat, sometimes a good girl, if she's been asleep for a while, she forgets that we're here and she'll just be like, what's going on? Where are you? Hi! Hello! But yeah, so that is the kitchen plants at the moment, but like I say, I will keep you updated with the edible garden. And another one that's been growing fairly happily in my cabinet since I started growing it is the Welwitschia mirabilis. And this really doesn't look like much at the moment, but this is actually one of the plants in my collection that I would say I'm probably the most excited about. If you've watched my weird plants series on my channel, then you probably will have heard me talk about this one a while ago because it's commonly known as the living fossil plant. It can actually live to be like thousands and thousands and thousands of years old. And I just looked up what it looks like growing as a houseplant and I was like, oh my God, it's beautiful. I will find a picture and put it somewhere on the screen so that you can see what it looks like, but it's gorgeous. But it is a very difficult one to grow. I really wanted to try growing this plant from seed and I managed to get hold of 5 seeds and this is the only remaining one. I did everything the same for all of them. I soaked them for 48 hours, I think, and then I kind of slightly peeled the seeds. I put them into a non-organic substrate, so this is vermiculite, perlite and leca. And then I tried them in a few different conditions. I tried some in the cabinet, I tried some next to grow lights, some by windows, like I literally did so many things. And yeah, as I say, they are so prone to fungal issues and I lost all but this one. However, a fun fact about this plant is that it only ever grows 2 main leaves for its whole life, whereas like pretty much any other kind of plant that you think of will give you new leaves as it grows and it develops. This one, as I say, will only ever really give you 2. And these ones here, this is the first thing that it gave me, and these are actually what's known as cotyledons. Cotyledons? I never know how you pronounce it. But that actually happens with lots of seedlings. They're essentially the first little, they're not even, I mean, they are leaves, but they're the leaves that come up first and then die back. And then, yeah, with this plant, these ones will then push through, which is starting to happen, as you can see. And those will be the leaves that it keeps for its life. They will just get bigger and bigger and bigger. If it loses one of those leaves, it won't grow back. If it loses 2 of them, I'm assuming the plant is dead, but I don't really know. But seeing as I've got this one through to the point that it's developing its mature leaves, I don't want to say I'm out of the woods with it, but it does feel much more hopeful than all of the others. Some of the others did sprout, but I never got mature leaves coming out of them. So yeah, it feels a bit scary, but it also feels like a massive achievement. So I'm keeping it in this spot in the cabinet. I'm not going to move it for the time being because it's doing good things. Why would I unsettle it? I can see it has got the craziest taproot at the bottom, which is this thing that's all curled around there. And that's also why it's recommended to grow this plant in a very tall vessel, because it does have this insanely long taproot. I know nothing about repotting in this plant or anything like that. I'm obviously not going to jump in and do anything like that just yet anyway, but yeah, I'll keep you updated because it's, as I say, it's a really exciting one for me. And coming back into, hello, my planty space, one that is finally starting to do something. What are you doing? It's my Anthurium Delta Force, and this is an Anthurium that I am so excited about, but I don't talk about that much just because it has been such a little seedling and there haven't been like, what are you doing, girl? She's just staring into space. Yeah, there haven't been huge updates to really give on this plant. But if I remember correctly, the last time I spoke to you about this plant, I was a little bit worried that one of the leaves might be affected by something fungal. It had gone very translucent, and I did just chop the end off that leaf, and luckily it hasn't spread, so I do feel like that was the right decision. And then it's given me a leaf since then, which has been this one, and obviously you can start to see a little bit of the veination on there, which is super exciting. And it is now giving me a new little leaf, which you might not be able to see that well on camera at the moment, but this has literally started coming up in the last week. I don't know if it's due to the fact that I'm in my new space and everything about the new space is just so great, I think it's probably just a little bit of a coincidence, but the fact that it hasn't been like, so far, touch wood, the new growth hasn't been like stunted or affected in any way is a good sign, because whenever you uproot plants, pardon the pun, and change their environment, a lot of the time new growth can be affected. It doesn't look to be affected so far. So I've just got it here on my grow shelf right underneath my grow light. It's also right next to my humidifier, because previously I did have this little one under, just like under a cup, and that was creating humidity for it, but I was like, I'm just going to put it right by the humidifier and hope that that does the same thing. And yeah, so far so good. So I'm really hoping that this next new leaf is going to be even bigger, even more mature, and then maybe we'll just kind of be on a bit of a roll. I have no idea how quickly this plant grows, but I would just love to grow it big so much. It is such an exciting Anthurium. So yeah, I will keep you updated. And I'm aware that this is not the best angle or light to be showing you what I'm about to show you in, so I will put some clips in. But Ross's friend Rob, that I mentioned in my moving vlog that helped us move in and like did loads of DIY for us, very kindly made these built-in shelves for us, and a lot of them are just like practical shelves because things are just very much like tucked around the corner here. However, I have done kind of like a temporary setup. Okay, I've done a temporary setup of my little Ikea cabinet, my tabletop cabinet, and this one has been sat doing pretty much nothing for ages. But I've sealed it all with silicone. I've done a very bad job of that, but I have sealed it. And at the moment, I'm just keeping a thin layer of water at the bottom of the container, and then I'm just putting things in cover pots inside to kind of like raise the humidity. And I've got loads of little terrarium begonias and like fun little plants in there that I don't really know what to do yet, but I have big plans for. I wanted to show you this little begonia. I think it's Goegoensis or something like that. I just took this one out to show you, but it's one that is living very happily in there at the moment. I also don't need to have a grow light like this on top. This is one of my mother grow lights, and this is actually one that belongs to my cabinet upstairs that I haven't set up yet, my old cabinet. And I would love to get that one set up again and get some, I was gonna say like propagations, not even necessarily propagations. I think maybe like have it as a little experimentation zone / acclimation zone. I don't know, but anyway, I can't find the grow lights that I had on this cabinet before. Honestly, I swear to God, we've like lost a few things in the move, and those grow lights are one of them. Yeah, that grow bar is currently a mother grow bar, and the ones that I had on there before are just like Amazon ones. And to be honest, you don't need anything fancy for a small space like that. But yeah, I think as well with that cabinet long term, what I might do, I don't know if I'll be planting like these begonias in fact I'll get another one out and show you because I've got a few lovely ones in here. Yeah, I'll have to put the name on the screen because I can't remember what this is, but how gorgeous is that? And I'm thinking maybe at some point, instead of just having little containers of plants in there, I might actually kind of deck the whole thing out with moss and cork and kind of get a really beautiful little, almost like terrarium environment going in there. I don't know if I'd make it bioactive or not, but yeah, I just think that might look really cool. And the nice thing about having it over in this space is in the evenings, this kind of just feels like a little lamp. And to be honest, like we use grow lights as lamps throughout the whole house. We've only got maybe like one actual lamp. And yeah, I just think it looks really pretty. So yeah, that is my thoughts for the time being. Everything in there is doing well for now. But yeah, I just thought that was a fun planty project that I could do at some point. And then I've got two more plants that I have completely chopped up since the move. And I was just bringing one of them over to show you when a section of it fell out of the soil, and I'm now gonna need to try and stick it back in. But the first one is my fern leaf cactus, and oh my God, I love my fern leaf cactus so much, but it's one that just got really neglected in the move. Like it was sat, I don't know why I didn't just pick it up and take it to the house, but it was sat by my front door for ages, and it ended up getting trampled on, and there were bits that were ripped, and it just was looking, again, very raggedy. I have already chopped this plant up and kind of reset it once in my time of growing it, of owning it. and it seems to root very quickly. So I literally just chopped some of the lovely fern leafy leaves in half, and I've just stuck them down into soil. And I've done this in a couple of pots. So I'm hoping in the next kind of few weeks it's going to root really nicely, and then if I want to pot the whole thing back up and get it going as a big plant again, I can, but I've got options. So yeah, it's currently just on one of my grow shelves there under grow lights, getting good light, good heat, good humidity, all the good things. So in theory, I think it should bounce back quite quickly. And although I am sad not to have like my big plant at the moment, I don't know, like as I've already said, like I feel like in this space it's kind of just like a little bit of a reset for me, and I've got lots of plants doing exciting things, so it's like it's not breaking my heart. I'm just happy that at some point I will be able to get it going again. But then another one that I have more or less completely chopped up since moving is my Hoya pubicalis Hawaiian, and Ross had this little skull, like I think this actually had like, I don't know, vodka or something in it. So that Ross doesn't drink, so maybe not. But it had something in it at some point, and I was like, that would make a lovely container to propagate or like make a terrarium in or something like that. In fact, I have a feeling he might have bought it to make a terrarium. Anyway, yeah, my Hoya pubicalis Hawaiian, this is the one that was growing on top of the fridge at the flat, and it had like one section of growth trailing down, and it looked nice, but it just wasn't practical for the plant. Like it was tendriling like crazy. It was looking for something to climb and grip onto. And again, I thought like, why not in the new environment? Why not just reset the plant and then I can think about how I want to grow it? Because currently I'm not quite sure. But yeah, Hoya typically propagates very easily in water. So I've just chopped it up, put lots of cuttings in here. And I do think as well, when the roots get going, which, oh my God, already, oh my God, I did this a couple of days ago. Already there are some little starts of roots in there. But yeah, also when it starts to root, I think it will look really, really cool in this. But yeah, so those I think that and the Begonia Sinbad are the only things that I fully chopped up. And I have no plans to fully chop up anything else at the moment, but yeah, as I say, a reset is just often a very good thing for the plants and mentally just a good thing for yourself. So yeah, no regrets. And as you can probably tell, this is a very unfinished area of the house. This is the bathroom. We have literally got paint like peeling off the walls in strips at the moment. We've got so much work to do in here. But you may be able to notice we do have a window, which is, for me, insanely exciting. I know for a lot of places just having a window in a bathroom is standard. And in fact, some of you guys were saying it's actually illegal to not have windows in some places. But the flat that I was in before did not have any windows. So it's really nice to be able to actually have a space that could be a little bit planty. This isn't like the brightest window ever, but the potential for a plant or two in here is very exciting. But currently the one that I've got in here is my Hoya Bella, and this is actually in here for isolation purposes because it started looking a little bit funky just before I moved, and I couldn't see anything like untoward apart from the fact that it definitely needed a repot. God, I've had this plant for probably a couple of years. Oh yeah, oh my God, maybe more than that now. But I am ashamed to say I haven't repotted it since I got it. It's still in its original pot. And I noticed when I had a really good look at it, I noticed a couple of mealybugs, and I was like, oh God. Typically Hoyas can do okay if they're a bit root bound for a while. But that accompanied with the fact that obviously it had bugs sucking its sap. That is obviously the reason why it hasn't been looking too great. So I did go in with isopropyl alcohol for this one, and a couple of days ago I noticed a few more, and I was just like, oh my goodness. Although I typically will say, for me, I don't use pesticides, like I like to do things naturally. With this plant, I was like, you know what? I am dealing with so many plant acclimation things at the moment. We're also like mid doing loads of things. I'm gonna just go in with pesticides. So I use this stuff just here, which I haven't actually used before. I just had a bottle of it knocking around. I think this was actually maybe even my mum's from when I was living back at home. And it's obviously too soon to tell, it's only been a few days, but so far I can't see anything else. And obviously I can just keep showering the plant down. And in the meantime, while it is isolating, it can have some light. So yeah, I will probably repot it in the next few weeks, but hopefully if I keep up the very careful checking, that's the last I'm gonna have to do with this plant. But yeah, I'll keep you updated. I'll let you know how she gets on. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous Hoya. It's one of my favourites, so I would hate for anything bad to happen to it. It does actually look pretty good now. Like, just the plumpness of the leaves is better since it's had a really good water and a pest rate. And then again, coming back over to my cabinet, I've just sat at the end of the table because I've got a couple to show you and I thought it would be easier, and now I feel very official indeed. But I just wanted to give you an update on my Drymonia cherry begana. This is one of the plants. This is the one that is definitely doing better, however it's a little bit weedy. And then I've got a couple of other sections of propagation of this plant around my house. But this is one that, again, I feel like I'm kind of struggling with. And I won't go through the whole process of growing this plant because I know I bang on about this one a lot. But the long and the short of it is I got this plant for the first time as a cutting about a year and a half ago, and it grew amazingly for me. It was so easy. Like, I just did nothing and the plant just gave me all this beautiful growth, and it was gorgeous. And when it matures as well, its leaves go very dark, like almost like black, and it's just so gorgeous. But it was getting quite leggy and quite tall, so I decided that I was going to chop the plant up and propagate it, and that's where all of the issues started. And I've never really got it back to the point since then where I feel like it's the easy plant that I once knew. This has, up until the move, so the last couple of weeks, this has been the main section that I've been growing, but I actually decided to chop it back. You can see there's loads of bits here that I've chopped back. Just because what was happening is every time it gave me new growth at the top, the bottom leaves were dying back. It never did this before, which makes me think that, I don't know, maybe there's something pest related. I can't see anything. I need to get my microscope out and kind of have a look for things like flat mites, because that would potentially be an indication. The root system looks good. I can see it looks good. It's growing in sphagnum moss. That is how I was growing it before, and it was really happy like this. So yeah, that section is a mystery. This one grew from a teeny weeny tiny wet stick. So if you look at the base of this plant, you can see just how thin and unstable it is, hence why this plant, oh my god, is so wobbly. So really, although this one is growing amazingly well, I think I'm probably going to have to chop this one back, because otherwise it's just going to snap itself. So yeah, I guess this is just a bit of a struggle plant for me at the moment, and I never thought I would be saying that about this one when I first got it. But yeah, it does really feel like mentally quite good being in a new space and like in a new environment that I can kind of, I don't know, it's forcing me to look at my plants and really like look at them in great detail in a way that maybe I wasn't when I was at the flat. I got very used to things in my old environment, as you do, and I'm sure there were things I was overlooking, and because I'm having to be super vigilant about things that might be going wrong and like plants like acclimating and stuff like that, I feel like it's a good opportunity to do some resets and to mix things up a little bit. So yeah, I do hope I will be able to get my head around this plant again soon, and I'll be coming back to you with positive updates. But for now, it is a little uncertain. And then just here, I wanted to give you an update on my Maranta, because I was a little bit worried that this spot might be just too dark for plants without adding in some kind of grow light or something like that. I've also put one of my aglaonemas here, and I know, in fact, I think this is my aglaonema Jubilee. It's got a little bit of yellowing. I don't know if that's just acclimation, or I don't know if maybe this is just gonna be too dark. But for now, I'm trialing it. This is very much all trial and error still. However, it's only been a few weeks, but my Maranta has taken off in this spot. Honestly, it is giving me more growth than I think it's given me in like, honestly, in months, like since I gave it that massive chop back, like it hasn't been doing badly at the flats, but it's just been a little bit, I don't know, a little bit slow to get going again. And yeah, I feel like in the time that we've been here, I've noticed so many new leaves, got that unfurling. I've literally got new growth coming from every single point. So although I'm not going to say that this is going to be like a 100% guaranteed success long-term spot for this plant, I'm like, so far so good. It's doing very well so far. And also the thing I like about it is it covers the wires here, because we were like, we could drill through the shelves and hide the wires, or we could put a plant there. And I think the greenery looks really nice. To be honest, I've said it in like plant styling-y video things that I've done before, but I really like having greenery around areas of technology. And obviously, like, we've got a ridiculously huge TV because Ross is a massive TV and film buff. And it's just a very, like, I don't know, densely black area, and it's very dark and very, yeah, as I say, just like technology focused, and just having a bit of green there, I think just breaks it up and just makes it look quite pretty. So yeah, so far so good, and hopefully it continues to do good things in that spot. And then I wanted to, oh my goodness, I was going to say end on a positive note, let's not break the plant, or that won't be positive. But my Anthurium luxurians Platinum is giving me such a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful new leaf. This has been a plant that I have just adored growing from the moment I got it. It's one that, like, before I got it, I didn't really have very, I was going to say high expectations. It was a plant that I kind of felt like I wanted to give a go to, and I wanted to tick off my list, but I didn't expect to love it this much. And since I've got it growing in no drainage like this, I've just got a layer of leca at the bottom and then a chunky soil on top. Since I've grown it like this, it has honestly been the lowest maintenance plant ever. And since I've started moving in here, so again, this is literally the last couple of weeks, it started giving me this leaf. And I just love how the new growth comes in so kind of reddy pink and then fades to this gorgeous green. As I say, this is a Anthurium luxurians Platinum, so sometimes the leaves can look quite silvery, but to be honest, I don't think I would look at it and be like, oh, that's a silvery one. I think it just looks fairly standard most of the time. But again, with every new leaf, it has been sizing up so much. So I'm really, really hoping that this one is going to be even bigger, because that's the other thing I love with Anthurium leaves, is they do come in so small and they do just get bigger and bigger as they grow. It feels so magical, and I always love trying to predict just how big they're going to get. So yeah, I might not be able to grow it on the shelf for much longer. I don't know. I might need to find a new position for it. But this is a plant that's grown in so many different lighting conditions in the time that I've had it. I don't think it even necessarily needs to be in this room. So I don't know, maybe I could try growing it in the living room or in the bedroom or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, I think those are all the main updates. There's other bits and bobs going on, and I will do a full walkthrough at some point. But yeah, oh, the other thing I was going to say, Anthurium rocquianum, still alive. I know I only potted it up a week ago, but it's still alive. But yeah, those are all of the main things that I wanted to take you through today. And yeah, I hope you have enjoyed this video. This is the first video that I filmed in different bits of the house, and it has been so much fun just taking you around to things and having the space to do so. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, have a lovely day, and I will see you in the next video.
Stay sexy, plant lovers.